Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Fancy Panda from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to co-sign my sister's mortgage after my parents went behind my back? Now just to say, this story started in late 2024 and there's a new update to this point. So if you've seen previous parts of the story before, feel free to skip certain parts if you want to. Timestamps are down below. But it starts. I, 28 female, have been busting my butt for years to save for my own house. I work in software, so I make decent money, but it still takes forever to build up a good down payment. Meanwhile, my younger sister, 25 female, is in grad school with barely any credit. Our parents, both mid-50s, found a house near them and decided she needs it. They made an offer without telling me, and now the deal only goes through if I co-sign. The problem? I had no clue they'd do this. My parents basically dropped the bomb. You have the best credit score, co-sign so your sister can get the house. They also hinted I should chip in for the down payment because you've got the money. If I co-sign, I'll be on the hook if my sister can't pay. She's still in school, has debt, and zero backup plan. The bank might also reject my future mortgage application since they see I'm already tied to another loan. But my parents say I'm selfish and forgetting family values. My sister's calling me a monster for leaving her stranded, and my mum threatened to cut off any future financial help, like wedding money, if I don't help right now. Some relatives thinks it's insane my parents tried to rope me into this after they already made the offer. Others say I should just do it for the family's sake. I feel guilty, but also mad they put me in this spot. Am I the arsehole for protecting my own finances, or are they wrong for strong-arming me into co-signing a mortgage I never wanted in the first place? Edit, I'm actually adopted, lol. Got to mention in my confused and angry state. My parents adopted me when I was very young because they'd been struggling to conceive. A few years later, they had my younger sister naturally, which was a huge deal to them. She was their miracle baby. Ever since, it's felt like my role in the family became the older, adopted one, when she was the golden child who could do no wrong. Growing up, I was expected to pitch in more, be more responsible, and generally look out for my sister. I worked my butt off in school, snagged scholarships, and eventually landed a good job in software. All the while, I felt like my family mostly saw me as the fallback option, in case anyone needed financial or emotional support. Now that I'm actually building my own life, saving for a house, focusing on my career, I'm realizing how my success just makes me look like a bigger piggy bank to my parents. The more independent I become, the clearer it is that I need to separate myself from the constant guilt trips and the unspoken expectation that I'll always bail them or my sister out. I love them, but I can't keep sacrificing my own future to maintain a dynamic where I'm never the priority. So thank you all for the wake-up call. Update to come. Independent Stan says to OP, absolutely do not co-sign. Not the arsehole if you refuse. Let your mum not pay for the wedding. If she's threatening now, she will again. In the end, she probably won't. But that's not the main reason not to co-sign. The main reason is there is a huge chance you'll be in debt for a house that is not yours. Empty says, spoiler, they won't pay for your wedding anyway. They are broke asses. Please don't sign. It will fuck you up in ways you can't even imagine yet. Quagsy says broke asses who care more about the golden child younger sister than their child who is actually taking charge of her own life. Wartcrafter says, ding ding ding, and we have the answer. Why is sister the one that needs to own a house? Celtic Muse says, so your sister is the golden child and you are not. Don't co-sign the loan. Tell your parents to give your sister the wedding money, and since your finances won't be a dumpster fire, as they would if you co-sign the loan, you'll pay for your own wedding, and we'll be sure to send them a picture since obviously they won't be there. Tell them how much you appreciate them, freeing you from having to care for them as they age, since that will fall 100% to your sister. Not the arsehole, but your family is really toxic. So OP came in with their first update and said, okay, so here's where I'm at. I'm absolutely not signing my sister's mortgage, and I'm definitely not pitching in for any down payment. This whole thing was the final push I needed to realize how messed up our family dynamic has been for ages. I mean, I've always known it was bad, but having them basically try to volunteer me and my finances without even asking just crossed a line I can't ignore anymore. I'm done. I've decided to cut ties. I'm already in the process of dropping any financial entanglements we might have, cutting off shared accounts, making sure they can't use my information for anything, and basically scrubbing them from my finances. My job lets me work remotely, so I'm planning to move out of state soon. That was always in the back of my mind, but now it feels urgent. I need space, distance, and a real shot at a normal life without the constant guilt trips. I'm also locking down my credit, freezing it, changing passwords, everything. I'm not taking any chances that someone might try to open a line of credit in my name. I've seen enough horror stories and I'm not about to become one. Thankfully, I'm not alone in all this. My close friends have been incredible. They're basically my real family at this point, helping me pack, offering me a place to stay if I need it, reminding me that I'm not crazy for wanting to protect my future. They've been the biggest source of support and I'm honestly so grateful to have them in my corner. So yeah, that's it. I'm not signing, I'm leaving, I'm done. If my family wants to blow up at me for abandoning them, so be it. I've got to look out for myself, my credit, and my sanity. Here's to hoping things only get better from here. Everyone who commented their 2 cents are amazing people, and I thank you for your support while I'm dealing with this. Truly, thank you. Twin Peaks says to the OP, be sure to freeze your credit with all 3 bureaus and freeze your social security number as well. Rotary Road says, I would also contact the financial institution that is issuing the mortgage and tell them you're not involved in case they forge your signature. They have your social security number and may already have the bank run your information. Loop Adjacent says, I read your other post and I'm so glad to read this update. Perhaps a new phone number when you move. Also, I wouldn't tell them your address. Yeah, I moved out west. When you really moved east, north, or south. Lock or privatize your socials and look up grey rocking towards your family. Your life is about to open up and flourish, and I'm so excited for you. So it was a day later that OP came in again and said, I discovered a credit card in my name. Okay, I was really hoping the update post would be the last one, but here I am. I didn't expect it to turn into a bigger mess. After deciding not to co-sign the mortgage for my sister, I started taking extra precautions with my finances, locking down my credit, pulling my full credit reports like you all suggested. I wanted to be absolutely sure no one could use my information without me knowing. That's when I stumbled on an active credit card I didn't open. Some of you guys warned me and I guess I wasn't fast enough to lock down. It's been around for a couple of years now. It was being used, but I'm assuming my parents wanted to keep it from me with the intention of using it as leverage. As of yesterday, the statement showed purchases that looked a lot like the household expenses. The billing address on file points right back to my parents' home. I confronted them via text because I'm currently a couple of hours away with a close friend. They claimed I benefited from the expenses, which doesn't make sense. Like, how did I? Because they never helped me with setting up my own apartment. Also, it explains why they assumed I'd be okay with co-signing. Turns out they've been using my credit for a while. Needless to say, I feel completely betrayed. This wasn't some tiny oversight my parents have been quietly using my name to fund their expenses. Now I'm talking to a professional to figure out whether I should dispute the charges or close the account outright, without tanking my own credit in the process. It's nerve-wracking realizing how they went behind my back even before this mortgage bullshit. At this point, I'm even more determined to move out of state to get distance from all this. My job is thankfully remote friendly, so relocating won't wreck my career. My friends have been amazing, offering support so I don't completely lose my mind. If it weren't for them, I'd be a mess right now. I'm not trying to be vindictive or overdramatic, I just need to protect myself. The trust is gone, and I don't see how I can maintain a healthy relationship with people who thought this was okay. It's sad, and I wish it didn't come to this, but I've got to prioritize my own future. I'll let you know if anything else major happens, but for now, I'm focused on fully separating my finances from my family, getting ready to move, and making sure I don't pay the price, credit-wise, for something I never agreed to. It's scary, but I'm hoping it'll be worth it to finally have a life and a credit score of my own. Commenter says to OP, well, if they open credit in your name, that is considered identity theft. You should file a police report. Let the chips fall where they may. Mad Voice says yes, definitely file a police report. They should be held accountable. Let it be the find out to their fucking around. Mama Kim says 100% this. Call the cops. They need the find out part of the fuck around. So, it was a year later that OP came in with their update and says, edit, I'm reposting here since it got taken down on Am I the Arsehole here. Had some drama last year that I posted about and was hoping I'd just be able to repost there. So here it is. Last year I cut my parents off and thought that was the end. They tried to force me to co-sign a mortgage for my younger sister, called me selfish when I refused, and I found a credit card opened in my name at their address. I froze my credit, shut everything down, moved out of state and told myself, done, no more access. I was wrong. This week a letter from the county recorder shows up about a newly recorded deed of trust with my updated address. I pull the record, my full legal name as co-borrower, a signature that's supposed to be mine, and a hometown notary stamp. I did not apply for this loan. I did not sign this loan. I was not even in the same state the day they claim I sat with a notary. I called the lender's fraud department and asked for the e-sign audit trail, the IP used for my signature, my parents' Wi-Fi. I emailed the notary. She replied in writing that she saw me over FaceTime and matched my ID from a photo my mum provided. That is not legal. That I didn't do my job and now I'm part of a crime. Here's what I have. The deed listing me as a co-borrower, the fake signature and stamp, the lender's e-sign audit with their IP, records placing me out of state, and last year's police report from the secret credit card. So I acted. Filed a police report for identity theft and forgery with exhibits. Filed a state notary complaint with her written admission. Filed an FTC identity theft affidavit. Sent a fraud packet to the lender demanding removal of my name and treating the acknowledgement as defective. Extended my 7-year fraud alert, refroze all bureaus, blocked my USPS address and opened a PO box. Retained a lawyer. Sent my parents a written cease and desist. Stay out of my finances. All contact is email only. I'm not giving them time to fix it quietly. I'm not offering a refinance window. I'm not protecting them so my sister doesn't have to move. If this loan collapses, it's because they built it on my stolen identity. That's on them. But she'll lose her house. If your roof depends on a forged co-borrower, you never had a house. You had a countdown. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I feel like I'm out of my mind. I thought this was all behind me, but I guess not. I've had some amazing help over the last year trying to piece my life back together, but things are so shitty right now. I don't care if she ends up homeless. Fuck them. I'm so done. Commodore says to OP, good for you OP, not the arsehole here. Please keep us updated on what happens. Plenty says yes, you did what you had to do. Protecting yourself isn't being petty, it's survival. Dolly Karma says biggest not the arsehole in not the arsehole history. Holy fuck, the assholery from your family is incomprehensible though. And the majority of comments are just relieved that OP is going to the police with all this filing that's gone on. Absolutely, they deserve to be called out for this. It doesn't sound like they was going to stop either. They were just going to keep constantly going. And I don't know the legalities behind it all, but it sounds like OP is doing everything right from what I can see. Again, I don't really have much of a clue about it, but... And on the sister losing the house, you know, in the end, it's just not your problem. She's an adult who benefited from your identity theft. Whether she knew the full extent of it or not, she'd been living in a house that's been financed by your stolen credit for a year. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a throwaway account from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it says, Am I the arsehole for prohibiting my mother from seeing my child because she's tricked him into thinking she's his mum? For a way to avoid anyone recognizing me. I have now a 3-year-old son who is living with my mum, his grandma, for a year while I was away getting myself together. For personal reasons I will not explain why I was away for so long, but I felt I needed to better myself for my son. My mother agreed to take care of him while I was away. I FaceTimed him whenever I could. Fast forward to last month. I come to my mother's house to pick up my son. He's happy to see me, and me and my mother are talking while he's playing with his dinosaurs. He suddenly looks up at my mother and says, "Mummy, I'm thirsty." I was obviously confused and asked my mother if she heard him call her mum. She laughed nervously and said that he had been calling her that for a while. She basically explained that while I was away, she told him she was his mum and to call her that. I laughed and told her that I wasn't comfortable with that, since she wasn't the one who birthed him. I told her he should know that she's his grandmother, not his mum. She got upset and told me that he needed a mother figure while I was gone, and she was just trying to fill that role for him. She said something along the lines of, "I've been his mother for a year now, and you can't change it." We went back and forth until it got to the point where we started raising our voices. She spat out some insults about me being a bad mum for being away for so long and how she should be his mum because he doesn't need a mum like me. I simply told her that she isn't going to be seeing him anymore because I'm not comfortable with him calling her mum. We gathered his stuff and left after that. She blew up my phone for days, talked some mess to family members, anything she could to make me look and feel bad, but I refused to forgive her, especially after all that stuff she said. Am I the arsehole? Opie came in with an edit and saying, "For those of you saying I abandoned him, I didn't. I was too sick to take care of him. That's all I'm going to say about that. I couldn't be the best mother to him because of my medical issues. I wanted to be there for him. I didn't just dump him on my mother. I feel the need to explain that because people are getting the wrong idea. It was possible for him to visit, but my mum said it would be best if he didn't see me like that because he'd be too young to understand, and I trusted her. So I didn't allow him to visit. No, I wasn't in a mental hospital or rehab. It was physical health reasons. A lot of you are saying you think I was in rehab because of the way I've worded things in my post, rather than edit out the original. I'd like to explain that it's probably not the best wording to use for the situation, and I understand that now. What I meant to say was I felt I needed to be in better health for my son. Getting myself together in my head pretty much means getting better and healthier. I apologize for that." Opie edits again and saying, "This will probably be my last edit. My son is getting a therapist like a lot of you have recommended. I'm considering working things out with my mother, only because I don't want her fighting for custody. Still unsure though." If I'm being completely honest, I felt really mixed about what was going on in this. I'm guessing it's because of the lack of details that we have in this situation, because from the way that I read it is that grandma's been looking after this toddler for what? He's 3 years old, so 33% of his life. He's almost bonded to her in some kind of way. Do I think the mum thing is right? Absolutely not. I don't think she should be encouraging to call her mum, especially when she knows daughter is going to be coming back into his life at some point in the future. But then to turn up and just say, pack the kid up and take him away when, you haven't been around for this toddler's probably developed quite a lot. They develop quite a lot at that age, I imagine. I just feel sorry for the kid in all this, How confusing it must be for him. Commenter says everyone sucks here. Were you in regular contact or just when you had the time? Did you have a set time when you'd be back, or did she have a reason to think you were gone for good? My opinion for right now is everyone sucks here. Opie says I FaceTimed him when I could. I was gone for serious medical issues, so it was hard for me to talk to him sometimes. There was no set time I'd be back. It all depended on when I got better. To another commenter, Opie says, can't exactly raise my son if I can't even move from a hospital bed. To another commenter says I had no choice but to leave him with her. Was physically unable to care for him due to my medical problems. I didn't leave him because I felt like it. I already considered talking it over with my mother. And another one says it was possible for him to see her, but my mum said it would be best if he didn't see me like that because he'd be too young to understand. I trusted her, so I didn't allow him to visit. On Opie's health, Opie says physical, although I can't say my mental health while hospitalized was perfect either. To another commenter says, I knew if I said hospitalized, people would start asking why, so I said for personal reasons, until people started assuming I abandoned him. Probably should have worded that part better. Someone asked for info saying, did he start calling her mum on his own, or did she tell him to call her mum? Opie says, she told me she told him to call her mummy, and that she was his mother. And Opie says to another commenter saying, she told me she told him that she was his mum. That's how she tricked him. Another commenter says, how is your health now? Do you have a backup guardian planned in a will should anything happen to you? What do you want to happen next? Opie says it is not completely resolved, but I am healthy enough to resume caring for my son. I'm still receiving treatment, but it will only require multiple doctor visits a month. It's unlikely I will have to be hospitalized again, but just in case I do, he will be going with my sister. What I want to happen next, hopefully, is to talk this out with my mother so she doesn't actually try anything, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea right now. And someone's mentioned on the timeline, Opie says, I raised him until he was 2. Then I was hospitalized and he went to my mother for a year. He was only with her for 1 year, but your point still stands. And apparently on the back of this, the comments were very, very mixed. The vote came out as everyone sucks here in this situation. But it was 2 months later that OP came back into the post, and they said, I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to everyone for the feedback that you gave me and the judgments. Whether they were negative or positive, I took each and every one of them into deep consideration. I accepted the judgment and indeed realized that I was also being an arsehole. My son has since seen a therapist like a lot of you suggested he should. He's done pretty well, although the therapist suggested he continue therapy for a little longer, considering he's still confused about the situation. He knows I'm his mother, but essentially thinks he has 2 mums. I've done my very best to go slow with him and teach him who is his mum and who is his grandmother. Regarding his grandmother, I did what a lot of you suggested and let her FaceTime him every day for a couple of hours, to not upset him. I did this until an incident involving her came up. I'm taking this to court. As much as I hate to further upset my son, I have come to the conclusion that she no longer needs to be in contact with us, at least not for a while. I'm sorry for all of you that this disappoints. I just want to do what's best for my son. As for my health, I'm slowly getting better, in case any of you were wondering. I have to visit my doctor several times a month, but that's an improvement honestly. Thank you all. I wish this situation could have ended differently, but I was able to try and resolve it thanks to all of you. Someone asked for info saying sorry if this is sensitive, but I was curious of what incident happened that is making you go to court. Also, I think you're doing a wonderful job as a mother, and wish you and your son the best in life. You didn't have to answer my question. I guess I'm too curious for my own good. Opie says, long story short, she tried to take him from me. And to another commenter, she said, she tried to take him from me in the middle of the night. Someone replied saying, did she try to break in, lure him outside? Sorry, super curious. Opie says she broke in. I forgot that I had given her a key to my house before I left for treatment. I woke up to the sound of the door opening. It squeaks, went into the living room, saw it was cracked, went to check on my son and she was in there getting him dressed to leave. The window in his room was also open, so I think she was going to go out through there. Someone says jail or press charges. Opie says I didn't want to press charges. The police said I should take it to court for a restraining order. They basically escorted her home, but she was not arrested. I don't think jail is a very good place for my mother, as she is almost 50. Not saying that what she did is okay. I still care about her. She's my mother. I always will in some way. I'd rather move far away from her than let her rot in a jail cell. After I get my restraining order, I'll most likely be moving anyways. I don't expect anyone to understand, but I'm not a vengeful person. In my eyes, she needs help and therapy, not jail. Another commenter says, the police already have the incident documented, I believe. Someone asked where the son's father is, and Opie said I don't know. He left the hospital when my son was born, and I haven't seen or heard from him since. And there was many comments after this one just curious about what is actually going on here, because, you know, they can see from OP's perspective that the grandma saying that she's the kid's mum and, you know, trying to kidnap the kid is straight up not okay and criminal, of course. But also the way that OP explains the details around this, it all felt a bit mysterious in some ways. So a lot of people were talking about missing reasons in this, but what about you guys? How did you feel about this one? Whenever there's kids involved in these stories, man, it fucks in my head. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.